Okay, I'll leave the phone on.
And
Okay.
then we'll see what happens.
We're
All right.
back. I just heard Roy.
Yeah.
I just heard him on your phone.
So welcome everybody. We have
Welcome back. We're a little late today. We've been having technical difficulties with our guest. Not
Mr.
that
Roy.
Roy Fong is our guest today from the Imperial Tea Court. And I don't mean to imply that Roy has technical difficulties. I think it is in his computer.
So
and we couldn't get any audio.
We can't hear him, unfortunately. So
we can see him, but we can't hear him, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. So he can tell us all about his hair and how.
I'm sure he has very interesting things to say, and we'll make up some of those things as we go along. But unfortunately, there's no audio.
Roy, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do at this point. Oh, he's off.
Roy, we'll have to do this another time. We'll have to figure out a time and try to solve the problem.
Right. We have to make sure that we have you next time.
Okay.
We need to do it. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll sign off then.
So I mean, you're welcome to stay if you think you know. But we're gonna do some demos and stuff. All right. It's not. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Roy. Sorry.
Too late. Hey, sorry, man. Okay,
well,
so we have it. It's unfortunate. That's the second time we miss him, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's too bad. We'll just have to talk about him while he's gone.
Well, we have plans anyway, so let me get my stuff then.
Okay. Well,
we had a plan.
So as everyone knows, it's really hot. Not quite as hot today as it was yesterday. I read today that
we're going to make a dish today. So yes.
Oh, we're going to make a nice hot weather dish today. I heard that the temperature in Los Angeles got up to 121 degrees yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Which is very warm. The warmest I've ever been in, I was hitchhiking once in the desert and it was 114. And that was plenty hot enough. I did not feel at that moment like I needed more heat. So to go up to 121, that would be stifling, I would think.
That's crazy.
I know that in Iran, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, it got up to 128 degrees. That's just crazy hot. That is.
Yep.
That's approaching a temperature that humans just can't live in.
It's cooking temperature.
Right, exactly. You could cook your food right on the sidewalk in that temperature.
Well, no, it's crazy. It's crazy hot.
Yeah.
So we can still have.
So fortunately, there's lots of things we can do in hot weather that certainly don't involve sweating at the oven. We want to eat lighter. Doesn't mean we have to eat. Malta gets pretty damn hot. Hey, don't tell me about your girlfriend obsessions. I don't know who this Malta is, but she must be something.
Oh man.
So cooking in hot weather is always a challenge. And I still like to have cooked food, but I also do a lot of grazing in hot weather. I eat cold meats, cheese, things like that, tinned fish, which is easy to open and do, and you don't have to turn on any fires. But occasionally you just want a hot cooked meal. And Olive's going to do a dish today that comes from Provence.
Well, I'm going to do something summer though. So I'm going to do something with summer. I mean, with tomatoes, obviously.
Summer. She's a friend of Malta's.
Yep. Same heat.
Yeah.
So tomate provençal is something that I was thinking about it today. I craved it. I saw a beautiful recipe. It's very simple, by the way, tomate provençal, and tomatoes are great right now. So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's super easy, and it's really amazing. And but anyway, so I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do that.
By the way, it gets pretty hot in Provence in the summer, doesn't it?
Provence is very hot, and I started to do classes. I'm posting some classes in French, just so you know, because people have been requesting French-speaking classes. So I'm going to start posting that.
Do you speak French?
No, but I have a computer. I have this thing in computer.
Just a translator device.
Oh man. So anyway, should we go now? What's Provence? You know what Provence is, by the way? I mean, you know where it is.
I know where it is.
You know, Provence is very old, actually. Provence is something like 300,000 years old. Neanderthal people live there. It's a very, very ancient area. This is where in the same area, you have a little bit above, you have Les Caves de Lascaux. You have this one of the oldest caves, main cave discovered in the world. And Provence was Greek, Roman. You know, it's in the Mediterranean, Marseille.
Right.
So those are very, very old cities. Those are the most ancient city you can find. And the recipes that we find, so today I'm going to make a tomato, les tomates provençales, which is basically stuffed tomato with, I picked today ground beef and ground pork. You can do it vegetarian entirely, of course. You can mix that with cheese and corn. Corn is beautiful right now. But I wanted to do a meat dish today. So this is what I'm doing, okay? You guys, for that, I have some really good stuff. I just want to show you quickly what I got.
Nice. By the way, Provence is an incredibly beautiful place. It's very stark in places, and it's kind of rugged, but it's a remarkable beauty. Some of the finest and most well-preserved Roman ruins in the world are in Provence.
Because that's what they were.
They thankfully didn't get bombed during the war, so they're all intact, and some of them are just incredible. There's a bridge down there that is stunning, and it's got huge arches, and then the second tier has more arches, and then there's on top there was an aqueduct, and the entire thing was built without any mortar. It's just stone. The weight of the stones hold it all together. It's a remarkable thing, and I walked across it.
You have to remember that the Romans did a lot of good work in Europe, and when they were gone, when they basically collapsed, 500 AD, Europe went into a very dark ages. So basically, we had a recession, complete recession until medieval time, which is a long time, and Europe went into a complete darkness as soon as the Romans took off, because that was the military of the Roman was so organized that actually the military was the builders, and they built, and they provided water, sewage. So I'm talking about those two things because this is where all the disease came from, all this sewer and all this stuff. And as they were left, that was happening. And it's the aqueduct you're talking about is there's still a lot in south of France, which is crazy after all these years, and they are still there and they're still hanging.
Yeah.
Aix-en-Provence is one of the examples. Okay. Also, Provence was really fun because it was at some point with Avignon, it was a papal. The Pope.
One of the popes lived there.
Yeah, because in the 12 or 1300, church was chased upon. And then they had to kind of like regroup somewhere, and Rome was not a good place at the time, and so they had to regroup in Avignon, where they built that fortress, and they could stay there until things got better for them.
And there was a new pope and a kind of an anti-pope. There were actually two popes at one time. In fact, the famous wine Chateauneuf du Pape is named for the Pope. Pape is the Pope.
Chateauneuf du Pape, yep. And they were in protection because it was. Anyway, I forgot exactly. I thought that was the time where Byzantine. Anyway,
Byzantine Empire. Kenny says it took only 100 years for people to forget what aqueducts were. So they probably they still had the bridges and the aqueducts, but they didn't even know what they were for. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that's funny.
The Romans liked their water fresh and cold, and they built these aqueducts that would carry water for miles and miles and miles. They
had this exact calculation, so the water will always trip.
Right.
All the way to Rome. This is like I mean, to any cities, but that's how
And they
they
built
were.
and they built them in France. There's famous ones in Spain.
Well, everywhere.
I saw one in Tunisia. There's still one there. They built them everywhere where they ruled.
In Tunisia, it was called Carthage because that's what
Right.
Carthaginois was, and Romans were occupied this region.
That's right.
Okay, so why don't I start with my tomato farci because then they go in the oven and then we can chat about whatever.
Okay.
I don't care.
Yeah, we can talk. I have other stuff to talk about too. Don't think I'm just a pretty face. I have stuff to talk about.
Okay, for the tomatoes, actually, I'm going to put my keyboard away. I don't need that. But I tell you, this is going to be very easy. Okay. For this, I need a big pan to saute my meat.
All right.
And
I have one if you don't have one.
I have a big one. I'm going to cook. I have my oven ready. It's 400 degrees. I'll put the recipe later, guys. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put myself on Big Chef. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Ground beef, ground pork. They're both grass-fed. Beautiful product. I'm not going to cook them too much. This is awesome stuff. I have some fresh parsley. Okay. Sage, 4 tomatoes, and I'm going to add some anchovies. That's because I like it. Bunch of garlic and onion. So the first thing is.
So this is a very healthy meal.
Yeah, but it's also summer meal, okay? Because.
Yeah.
So the first thing, guys, I'm just going to show quickly. I'm going to cut the onions. And just to show you a little bit how we cut this guy, okay? The onion, I'm going to be a dice. So I'm going to do, keep that root. Remove the root. Remove the peel. And remove as much as it's not pretty. You see this guy is not quite, so I'm going to pull one more very light. Don't remove too much of the skin. Huh? There's a lot of nutrients here, a lot of quercetin. We can't get rid of that too much.
Right.
So, okay.
And if you keep that root attached, then it holds the whole thing together while you're cutting it. Right?
Absolutely. How do you know that?
I guessed.
So I'm going to get this onion. I'm going to dice it. And you see, I'm not going completely to the root, right? I'm stopping before the root. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to come here and I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. And when I come down, the tip of the blade does not pass the root. So now I have some really good little dice, right? And this is how we're going to cut this onion. Cool?
See, I do it just like that, except that I'm always missing the end of my fingertips by the time I'm done.
So have someone else hold it.
so they can lose their fingertips.
You
Excellent
have
idea.
someone else hold it for you. And
But I need a different person each time because.
I would say a different hand next time, but yeah.
Yeah.
So one person can do it 2 times. Until they get really bored. All right, and the quick one, okay? And you see? And now I'm cutting those onions with a sharp knife. That means, and also no okey pokey, none of that. Like don't mince onions.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do, I need to cut those, chef, I need to cut the garlic. Okay.
Okay.
But also, I want to see if I can start my pan. So I'm going to start my pan on low, medium low, not do anything crazy. I'm just going to literally, not even waiting for the heat, nothing. I'm going to go really quick. I'm going to put those onions just like that. I'm going to let that kind of sit in there. Don't worry about it. There's not too much temperature. It's fine. It's all good. I just want those guys to take some flavors, and I'm going to cook them. I'm going to add some sage to that. So you see, very gentle heat. Very gentle heat. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. let's talk about anchovies. I'm going to put in there. What's good with anchovy, chef?
Anchovies add so much flavor to food. I mean, I love them on their own, but when you incorporate them into a dish, whether it's a sauce or a salad or some kind of poultry or whatever, it just adds a saltiness. It adds a savory quality. It's sort of the ultimate in what the Japanese call umami. It's that indistinguishable sort of sixth flavor element that is so important.
I'm sorry, chef. I'm not disappeared, but remember we were talking about garum.
I don't want to scare you, but you've become invisible.
Can you see my? I'm sorry. Can you see my?
You're going to be able to rob banks and everything.
Can you see my head?
No.
Oh my God.
It's all right. You look better this way.
I'm trying to get that. The
You trying to get the anchovies open?
Can you hear the onions?
I don't hear the onion. It's not cooking much yet. It's a pretty low heat.
Oh no, they're talking to you.
Oh.
Okay, so the onions are going finally.
May we?
Okay, so here. Okay, so now they're looking a little bit. So I'm going to go really low and let them sit in there. Meanwhile, I'm going to cut more stuff, and I'm going to show you how to deal with garlic. Okay, while those onions are cooking. And chef, you can talk to me. That's fine. So to get the garlic out, look what I do. I'm just going to crush it. Okay, and put that into a bowl. Okay, put all those cloves, and if they're not pretty, just dump them. Okay.
You showed that garlic who's boss.
Yeah, that's right. If I can't make the onion cry, I'm going to make the garlic cry. How about that? And I'm going to show you, and you see the onions are cooking very gently, guys. And I'm going to dump this. See, this is my garbage.
That's compost there.
Compost. And then I'm going to show you something to open those garlic. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Very light. Okay, very light, crush. Grab the tip and just boom. Just open it like
nice.
That without, okay, just like that.
It's almost like you've done that before.
Once, and it worked. One more time, okay? I have a couple here. Very light crack. Up, and then.
Oh, very nice.
Put it out and put
Garlic
it out.
is a very, very popular ingredient in Provence. It's
so I have
incorporated into so many foods.
That's right. Let me put another one just for,
I don't believe you can do it a fourth time. This is not going to work this time.
Oh my God, look at this.
Oh my God, it worked.
Okay, I'm going to stop there because I can do it 4 times. I can do it 5 times, right? What do you think? And I'm going to slice it and dump it in the onion.
So you don't want to mash it. You don't want to pulverize it like you would through a garlic press.
Oh, not pretty.
Not pretty.
You can, yes. You can mince it just like that. Okay, you can mince it just. So to mince garlic, put a bunch like this. And, okay. Now let's look at the onion though.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's becoming translucent.
Right, so they're cooking really gentle, people, okay, very low. You see there's no browning, right? You can brown if you want to. You can totally brown the onions. This is not what I'm looking for right now. I want everything to kind of mingle. And as you can see, I started the onions gently so I can keep cutting and keep prepping. So I start the dish so I don't waste time waiting for everything. I know mise en place is a big deal. I always say that. But that's part of mise en place. You can start cooking stuff that takes a long time while you prepare the rest. For example, my garlic, because the garlic is going to go in later, like right now, and I'm going to show you how. Garlic, ready?
Ready.
All right, you guys, look at what's happening. This is my dish. I'm going to put some more olive oil because I like olive oil in the middle.
Olive
I'm
oil
gonna-
likes you too.
Oh yeah. Put some garlic in there. You see that the onion went first, the garlic went after. And all I need to do is cook that really gently here. This is very important, people. Okay, don't mess it up. And wait until you see color. Wait until you see color. And then I'm going to start to put other stuff in it.
I see colors all the time. Usually stars and shapes and very nice.
And
I
it
bet that smells good too.
That's really good. And you see, I'm watching. Don't go away. Make sure this is working before anything else. Okay? You don't want to wait. You don't want to break that. Okay? So let me just put that. Sorry, I need to. All right. Let me show you again. This is looking good. It's not getting brown. It's going to get brown in about 30 seconds. So be very careful with that guy.
And you don't want to brown it. You don't want it to get bitter. You want it to stay sort
All
of
right,
sweet
that's it.
and
It's time to
garlicky.
brown. It's time to brown now. So now I'm going to mix that all together. Okay, and before the garlic burns again, I'm going to put my meat in there. Okay, so I'm going to dump beef and pork. Okay,
Nice. You gonna do half of each?
yeah, because it's a lot.
What are they, like pounds? So it's like a pound altogether?
I would say yes, and I'm going to mix those. I'm going to keep those for another project. And then break it and cook it really gentle. You guys, this is the time also to cook that gently. Okay, there's no need to grind or anything. Okay, so I'm going to go on low. Let it sit. Meanwhile, I'm going to get some of the herbs. Sage.
This is
Wow.
this is good for people to know too, for the people that want to be able to come home at night and make dinner without
Quick.
spending 3
This is
hours
quick.
doing it.
This is quick, super healthy. You can feed your whole family. That's what my mom used to feed. She used to make stuff like that all the time. Okay.
I mean, the dish is quick, but it's also the idea that you've got something cooking while you're doing more prep. So you don't
Yes.
have to wait.
Yes.
You don't have to spend an hour doing prep and then cook. You can do it all at once, and it's very easy to do. You just have to pay attention
To what we're saying, for example.
to what I'm saying, always.
And then I'm going to actually put those together like this. See, sage, the flat leaves, it needs to be chopped gently. And then I can roll that and just make some nice slices. You see? Roll them out just like this. And
French,
this is going to be, you guys, by the way, that's going to be on our YouTube channel. So if you want to watch it later, we should put a note on that so they can always watch it for the recipe later. All right, now I'm going to roll that just like this and slice, right? Okay, cool. And then I'm going to put some parsley in there, but I'm not going to cook the parsley. I'm going to cook the sage. So the sage goes right in there. That's going to cook like 5 minutes only, guys. Only 5 minutes. Okay, just 5 minutes. Then done. Then we're going to go and stuff our tomatoes. So you see I'm cooking on very gentle heat. I'm mixing all these goodies, and I'm going to add more herbs. So let's say I have some oregano.
okay.
Cool. Why
Very
do I
nice.
need so much herbs? Because herbs are fantastic. This is oregano is dry. I left it just sit like this outside. That's it. See, now it dried up, and I can literally take that and put a bunch of dried and fresh. Okay, you see that?
Right.
Ooh, and it smells really good. Wow.
And the idea here is you're not going to fully cook the stuffing because you're going to finish cooking this in the oven, right?
I am going to cook it in the oven. Yes, you're right.
Right. So all that meat and onion and garlic and everything is going to continue to cook once it goes in the oven.
Right.
So
I'm
it
gonna
doesn't
keep
need
going.
to be
Chef,
fully.
I'm gonna double the camera. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna chop what I can see your head. So this is oregano.
Mm-hmm.
I put sage, oregano, and if I had time, like sometimes I do, I would put thyme, whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter. All these herbs are fantastic. This I don't need to chop. I need to basically grind with my, just like
Are you saying we're out of time?
that. Yeah.
I think we have plenty of time left. Travertine marble is named after the marble used for the sewers in a rich area of ancient Rome. That's very interesting, Kenneth.
Which one?
Travertine marble.
Wow. And what is that from?
It's from an
this was
area.
in my onion.
I'm not sure exactly where Travertine was, but it was somewhere in the Roman Empire. Just like the more famous one is Carrara, which is another famous marble quarry. That's where Michelangelo used to go to the Carrara quarries and actually pick the blocks that he wanted, that they would sort of speak to him.
The marble of Car is very famous.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's very famous. So my friend, I have a friend in Aix-en-Provence, in Provence, who actually makes statues for cities, and every time he has to make one, he has to get his marble from Car. And it's a huge deal because that's out of the price the city pays. That's one of the most expensive fee.
There's a specialty food that comes from that area too, where they take little scrap pieces of marble from the quarries and they make these they look like little coffins, and they put pork fat in it and then cover them up and then just let it cure in there with salt, and it's called lardo, and it is extremely flavorful. It's one of the great foods of the earth.
So I am opening my
So you cut the tops of those tomatoes off.
Yes.
What's the big idea? What'd they ever do to you?
I just don't like the way they look at me. I remove that, and you guys, before I do anything else, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to get a spoon. I'm going to take that inside, and that's going to go in there.
Oh.
Okay.
Now, I knew you were going to hollow out those tomatoes to be the little cups for the mixture, but I didn't know what you were going to do with them.
Meanwhile, I have to have them just like this.
Mm-hmm.
So you can drain, okay? So I'm going to keep doing this.
Very nice.
And put my stuff in there, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to cook that down, you see, because now it's too liquidy for the tomatoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to raise the temp a little once because I have tomatoes in there. And I'm going to break this. Okay, I could have chopped it better. So
it'll break down in there.
So I work with my hand, people. I always do. You don't have to, of course. But this is your tomato juice.
I think working with your hands is acceptable in the kitchen.
Your feet would be different.
I think your feet, I think that's going a little too far. Might be unsanitary.
Okay, and then we'll put some salt in a little bit, okay? So you see, I'm going in there. Yeah. Wow.
Also, unlike some people, I don't have an opposable thumb on my foot, so it makes it a little more difficult.
I have it on my knee. I don't know if it's you think I should.
Yeah, well, evolution's a funny thing. Oh, now look at that bubbling away. You got the liquid in there, so it's almost braising.
Right. I raise the temperature because now I want to reduce that liquid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to leave it like this until it reduces a little. Smells really good.
I'll bet it does.
Wow. Great. So, chef, I'm going to go wash my hand. I have a sink over there. Don't go away, please.
I won't.
I'll be right there, okay?
I won't. Ooh, indeed. I was in Provence once in the wintertime. I was there in early January, and it was starkly beautiful. It was so gorgeous. There wasn't really any snow on the ground. It was very cold.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But it was so beautiful, and we ate
Provence is really
very
cool.
well. Provence is pretty beautiful any time of the year. Of course, in the summer, you have all the glorious markets and all the great ripe fruit and
All the
beautiful
time.
vegetables. And
It is all the time. The markets are all the time in Provence.
Elizabeth David wrote about going to the markets and buying figs that were so ripe that you almost wanted to eat them on the way home because they'd be gone
Right.
by the time you got there.
Yeah, I know. Fig could be, yeah. So you see now it looks really good, right?
Yes, it
You
does.
can add tomato sauce if you want to. Absolutely. If you have a little tomato paste, that's great. I'm going to use anchovies, so I don't have to worry about my flavors. The flavors are going to go all over the place. Trust me. Flavors is going to be just fine. So I'm breaking down that pork and beef because I buy really good meat, by the way. I don't buy any cheap stuff. So I'm not afraid of my meat. I'd be afraid of the meat if I buy cheap stuff, but I'm not. Okay, you see it's looking really good. And now I'm going to put some anchovy.
You could put some tomato paste in there, which would thicken it up a little bit, but you're going to reduce that liquid down, so it's not really going to matter.
Yeah, I can put some.
You're sort of making your own tomato paste.
I can do that. See, I know how to do it. Tomato paste.
Oh, see that?
Okay, boom. Bye-bye.
Nice.
Okay? If you want, you can add that. Absolutely. But you do have to reduce that. Okay? And because now the water is in, you're not risking to dry anything.
Right.
When the liquid is gone, then you're going to have to reduce the temperature. Right now, I want to reduce. So I want to get that going. So I'm on medium high. So I'm getting some liquid away, okay? And I'm going to put my anchovies in there. And I really like anchovies. They give incredible flavors. And one thing that people don't understand is you don't really taste them.
Right. They add an undercurrent of flavor, but you wouldn't eat it and say, "Oh, there's anchovies in there."
No.
Well, I would because I know they're in there, but because I just saw you put them in.
And you just break it. Just break it.
Nice.
Okay.
I don't understand. When I was younger, people always would order pizzas and they'd say, "Oh, no anchovies. Whatever you do, no anchovies."
I know it's such a good.
And I just don't understand.
That goes into my stew. I mean my.
It's funny. Growing up in the Midwest, I never ate anchovies because everybody said how terrible they were.
I know,
and then
right?
after I moved to New York, I remember at some point I ate anchovies and I said, "What the hell? These are delicious."
I know.
The hell,
And pickled. We should show them pickled anchovy also.
Oh yeah, like the bocarones.
So you guys, I've noticed that I didn't salt my meat yet because I just put the anchovies. So I want to make sure that it's not too crazy salty. And I'm going to mix that well. I am going to salt, but I want to try it to see what. Whoa, it smells really good. Jesus.
Right, and you don't want to season it too much with all that liquid in there because that liquid's going to reduce and the salt won't. So you could end up with a very salty dish if you weren't careful. But I know you're careful.
Well, I'm not that careful because if not, I would not have 2 kids.
But they're 2 lovely boys.
Oh, they're great, my boys. So I need salt. Okay, I love salt, and I'm going to use my really good salt from.
Are you going down to the seaside to get it, or you have some? Oh, you have some there.
So I'm going to put a big teaspoon of salt. I'm not worried because the anchovy didn't salt it like crazy, and also you have to remember that the tomatoes are full of water, and they like salt. So I'm going to show you what to do with that. So you see my liquid is almost gone. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So not quite. I'm I'm going to keep going until the liquid is gone. Okay, it has to go.
You really
so what you wanna
hate
do is-
liquid.
So what you want to do at this point, people, is this. At this point, you just want to do this and let it sit. Just let it sit like this. So what's happening is you can actually see the liquid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go on medium low, really kind of lower, and let it sit. And you see that liquid is going to go away. You see that steam coming out. So if the steam coming out, that means it's going to go away. It's going to be perfect. And then I'm going to chop a lot of parsley because parsley is going to go in there as soon as it's...
Because you don't really want to cook parsley, do you?
No.
Parsley you want to use fresh. You want to add it to cooked food after it comes off the fire.
Well, I'm going to bake it, but I'm not going to put
Right.
it in. I'm going to put that into the tomatoes, but they're going to be... Once they go in the tomato, it's going to be nice. So I'm going to put maybe that much. And to chop parsley, I'm just going to hold the stem, twist, and shout. Ah! Okay.
Because you can eat those little bits of stem in there. Those are perfectly good.
I'm going to put more. I don't have enough. That's not enough. Okay, fine.
More
Parsley is
parsley.
very, very
More
amazing.
parsley. More parsley.
Yeah.
We had a cat named Parsley.
Oh,
She
yeah?
was, she was delicious.
Did you put it in anything?
Yeah.
That's better. That's a little more like it. All right. Good. Done. All right. And I'm done. I'm ready to go. So now I'm going to check everything. Still water, so I'm going to raise the temp a little bit and wait. Once the water is gone, or at least most of it, you see all this water needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to stuff the tomatoes and go in the oven. Cool?
Cool. Very cool. Yes, and that basically, you want that liquid to go away. Otherwise, it would be kind of a messy thing to put in the tomatoes. Yes, it's interesting.
It will just run everywhere.
Yeah.
So I need to prepare a tray with parchment paper, and actually I'm going to use that grid. So the tomatoes, they can actually don't move too much. You see, those are going to be helpful.
That is interesting, Kenneth. And yeah, tomatoes from the New World, and they were not received in a friendly way in Europe at first. Everyone assumed they were poisonous. It is a nightshade, so people just assumed it was.
They were
poison.
mislabeled, by the way. They were mislabeled by a botanist. I was in 1700 or something when after they came, and the botanist, like you say, classified them as a poisonous nightshade.
Right.
So it is a nightshade. He was right, but he put them as a poisonous nightshade, and nobody wanted them. And then later, another botanist put them into a category of mandrake, and mandrake is a very, very strong poison. So because of that, people had a really hard time eating those tomatoes. They were not really accepted for a long time. But then
eventually they caught on, and it completely transformed everything in Europe.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to imagine the food of southern Italy, for example, without tomatoes, or Spain.
Or garlic. I know, it's crazy, huh?
Or garlic, yeah. Well, all the foods that came from the New World.
So we're looking good here. I'm going to give it 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. And you won't see the end, but you'll see well, actually, I'm going to go now. It's done. See, my thing is really nice. Try it out.
And you can still squeeze some of that juice out when you're putting it in the tomatoes.
Yeah, I think we're good. It's just the fat, which I want to keep. You see, it's mostly the fat, which is good. The fat didn't cook for a long time. Now I can put my parsley in. It's off heat. No more heat. Boom. Now I can put my parsley.
I wish you could turn down the heat outside that easily.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I guess you could. We could just stand under a hose.
Oh, yeah. I went to swim yesterday at the beach, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I took Finn. We went to the water. It was amazing. All right, so here. Now, you see, I'm going to try to, you see all the water get left? Okay, look at this. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to switch. That's because I have a dishwasher.
That's right.
And now they don't move too much, you see?
Mm-hmm.
But if they are too much, I would have to do a little aluminum foil, and I would put that in the bottom. But right now they're fine. I'm just going to stuff them.
This is also good, too, because if any of it kind of bubbles over, it's going to catch in the pan.
Sorry, James. Little salt in the bottom. Sorry, I forgot that. Okay, this is important. Right. All right, and now let's. Actually, I'm going to put one by one.
Nice.
Wow, do you think that's going to be good? Yeah.
That is going to be good.
Stuff him really well, huh?
Stuff those suckers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a meal right here. Okay. And then you can, some people, they put the top on. I don't think the top is good. It's kind of in the way. It looks pretty sometime, and sometimes it looks pretty like whatever. So it's whatever you want. And here, I'm going to, and all I need to do is bake them just so the flavor can mingle in there. See?
Uh-huh.
It's pretty cool, huh?
Because those tomatoes are going to bake pretty quickly. The mixture's already cooked, so...
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, you could top those with, if you wanted to get creative, you could top them with some breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
You could top them with a little cheese. I think a little Parmigiano Reggiano grated on top would be good. I wouldn't put a lot of cheese on them. I don't think they need it. But you could take a little Parmesan, grate it, and mix it with some toasted breadcrumbs. Put that on top would be really good.
Absolutely. I didn't put breadcrumb at all because I don't want to deal with bread today.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the fact that I don't eat bread. I just want to make sometimes breadless food. Because
I agree.
In the oven.
Nice.
I have an oven that's preheated at what is that? 400 is good.
So how long are those going to take? Not long, I would think.
They can stay actually pretty long because what's going to happen is the tomatoes are just going to cook a little bit. So they're cooking. No big deal.
So what do you think? Like 20 minutes?
Yeah, 20 minutes is perfect. Okay, they just need to be tenderized a little bit. Now I want to show you something else that I have here that I have extra. So I found in the fridge some potatoes.
Oh.
I mean, really.
Did they grow there?
For cooking fast and easy and absolutely no work at all. I will show you in exactly 3 minutes how I can do a dish. Boom, potatoes in there. I just found them in the fridge. I didn't think I had them. Okay, I know they're organic, so they're food. They're ready to go. Boom. Okay, at this point, take a bunch of garlic. Don't even do anything with it. Look.
That's crazy.
So don't even open them. Don't do. Okay. Now, what you can't forget is the oil. That's the most important.
Good olive oil.
Yeah. Portugal.
Oh, man.
That's all I need to do. How long does it take? Nothing. Salt, for sure. Salt, always. Okay, salt. And then dry herbs. Dried herbs, whatever you want. Oregano. This is herb de Provence. All right, fine. Okay, bye-bye. Oven. Same oven. And look at this. I have a side dish in... How long did it take? Not even 2 minutes, chef. This is done.
That's
it
nice.
Goes in the oven right now. Boom. Bye-bye.
And those little garlics are going to be great to spread on some nice crusty bread. Ooh.
So the potatoes, I'm going to reduce my temperature to 375 to cook the tomatoes and the potatoes at the same time. So everything is going to cook at once. The potatoes will take about, I don't know, 30 minutes.
Right.
Tomatoes will take about 20 minutes. So now I have a dish that's made, done, boom, and it's ready to go in about 20 minutes. Little work. Pretty cool. And I have all this left over that I can do something with it.
Right.
I
Well,
can
you could stuff more tomatoes. If you had 4 more tomatoes, you could probably fill those too.
You can do zucchinis.
Yeah.
You can open the zucchini, eggplants. You can also do keep that for a breakfast burrito tomorrow. Keep that to make this is good. This is a really good meal to eat, right?
Very nice. Now, if you were going to do those 2 dishes together, you'd probably want to start the potatoes first because they're going to take a little longer to cook than the stuffed tomatoes.
Yes, but it's not important because at this point, right, how I did it, you're right anyways.
Right. Did you just freeze or did I freeze? I think I'm frozen. Oh dear. I'm going to keep talking and assuming that you're the one that's frozen, but I think probably more likely it's me. Actually, the dishes would go well together. You could do those together. I think the tomatoes could go with just an infinite amount of things, especially meat, a roast chicken, any of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do a little history lesson since we're doing cooking. I'm going to talk about Mirepoix. Now, everybody knows what Mirepoix is. It's the classic starter of finely diced celery, onion, and carrot, which in classic French cuisine is like the basic starter to so many things, especially sauces. Anytime you're, it can be the bed for roasted meats, anything. And sometimes you might add ham or bacon or something to it. And in Spain and certain Latin countries, they add other things like tomatoes and garlic and things. But a Mirepoix is really classic, and I was going to talk about where it originated.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was gone. You were gone too, but I think I was the only one gone, right?
I kept talking because I didn't know if I was frozen or you were frozen.
I don't know.
Anyway, Mirepoix was first developed, like so many classic French foods. Mirepoix is named for the house, the royal house in which it originated. So in the 18th century, the cooks for the house of Mirepoix, the Duke of Mirepoix, created this idea, and it was named after the Duke himself, who was the Duke of Mirepoix. What's interesting about this guy is that apparently he was a very ineffectual guy and a bit of a putz. And his only claim to fame, in fact, the reason he got his wealth at all was that Louis XV, Louis XV, loved his wife. He had a great affection for Mirepoix's wife, and that's how Mirepoix maintained his position in society and acquired a lot of his wealth. It's really crazy.
That's crazy.
So, Louis had the hots for his wife, and it benefited him. And he was such a putz, he probably didn't even care. He just was more concerned about probably his table than anything else.
That's right, yeah.
But anyway, his name went to name this dish, which was kind of interesting.
Wow. And when was that? What is
18th
that?
Century, late, sort of mid to late 18th century. It didn't. The name itself didn't appear in any kind of cookery books until about the 19th century. But
yeah.
But that's where it originated. And then, like so many of those things, again, it was named after the place where it was originated. And in those days, that usually meant some sort of royal residence because that's who had cooks. The only people that had cooks doing fancy foods were rich people.
Yes. And then it became, as people became not rich, but they had more money because there was more production. Now the bakers became more rich, the meat producer became more rich. A lot of people we had more money, so they were able to hire chefs now.
Right.
And now
that was the rise of the middle class. Yeah. Yep. Which I am firmly part of. The middle class, that is. I'm very high class, but I'm middle
from the class in the middle.
Yeah. Anyway, that's your history lesson for today.
That was a great one.
You want another little bit of information? This is an interesting tidbit
Yes.
about raisins. I was doing some research about raisins, which I love. I love raisins. Curiously, I don't really like them in baked goods, but I just love to eat them. I prefer to add raisins to savory foods. Like, for example, the stuffed tomatoes you just did would actually be really good with some currants in there. That's the kind of thing you can add, especially if you were doing a vegetarian version. It would be good.
Yeah, absolutely. You can also put couscous,
quinoa, rice, right?
Rice, quinoa, lentils, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you have to cook those before, right?
So I really love raisins, and of course, raisins are dried grapes. They're the black ones are dried much longer until they really wither and turn black like that. Golden raisins apparently are dried for a much shorter time, usually mechanically, and they add I think sulfur dioxide or something to them to make the golden color and to make them dry quicker. But that led me to currants, which I always assumed were dried currants, but they're actually not. Currants, as we know them, the little dried, wrinkly things that look like raisins, are a grape called the Zante grape, which originally came from Greece. And in fact, Greece is still the primary producer of currants in the world. California, South Africa, and Australia are right behind Greece, but Greece makes like 80% of the world's currants. And it was originally called a raisin of Corinth, Raisin du Corinth, which was the particular type of grape that was used in Greece. And eventually that just got corrupted into currant. From Corinth, it got corrupted into currant somehow, especially in English. So currants really have nothing to do with the little juicy berries that are also called currants.
So what are they? Are they raisins?
They are raisins. They are the dried Zante grape, which is a very tiny grape, and makes these they're basically little tiny raisins. And the reason they're called Zante grapes is because the production of this particular grape eventually moved more to the island of Zante, or Zakynthos in Greek, and that's where they mostly come from for the last 100 years. So it ended up taking that name, and we refer to it today as the Zante grape. So currants have no relation whatsoever to the fruit called currant, which I think is what you make cassis out of, creme de cassis. Or they can be eaten out of hand. You see them in markets in France a lot I guess in the summer.
Let me show you my tomatoes. Sorry,
Yeah, show us your tomatoes.
I mean, they're not going to be quite done, but it gives you an indication because we have a few more minutes. Okay, I need like maybe 5 more minutes of cooking. They look really good.
Yeah. Yep. You need to open a bottle of good red wine with those. Maybe something from Provence. Maybe a bottle of Bandol.
Rosé.
Rosé. Yeah, there you go.
I would leave it like 5 more minutes. I want them to be soft. That's it. So they're little, that's it. 5 minutes. Okay, let me show you the potatoes now. I'm going to put them back in the oven. And for the rosé people, I don't mind to, just so you know, can we talk about the rosé and say that it's okay to put ice in the rosé, you guys? It is
okay to put ice in rosé.
It's actually really good.
It's actually okay to put ice in anything. I had some beer last night. I had some West Village or some Villager IPA from what's the brewery? Anyway, Villager IPA, and it wasn't. I had bought it not that long ago, so it hadn't been in the fridge that long. So I actually put some ice cubes in it. And I learned that when I was in Puerto Rico, they always drink their beer like that down there because they want it super cold.
The thing is, it kind of dilutes the alcohol also, which is in the wine is really cool because when you're in the afternoon drinking rosé, it's sunny and hot, man, you get it's a lot of alcohol. So and
Because
it
rosé
to
goes
your brain.
down really, especially if it's cold. It goes down so easily. So on a hot day, you're sitting out on the veranda, you can get pretty looped pretty fast. So you're right.
Yeah.
Adding ice dilutes it a little bit.
Definitely,
It's
absolutely.
probably better for you.
I'm gonna wait up close to, so we're almost done. I'm gonna show you my potatoes, even though they're not done. But you can see they're looking good, and they're gonna be done in about 15 minutes, I would say.
So back to my current obsession. Not
Sorry.
my current obsession, but my current obsession. They were actually used in trade. They were traded with the Venetian merchants in the Middle Ages. Kind of like peppercorns. They were almost like currency.
Not ready.
But interesting to note that although raisins and currants are really yummy and they're good for you, there's a long list of nutrients for grapes that they have all kinds of vitamins and minerals and fiber and all this stuff. They're really good for you. But
just like any other,
don't feed them to your dog or your pet bird, because they can get nephrotoxic. They are nephrotoxic, which means they can create kidney failure in dogs and birds.
Wow. Which one?
Raisins and currants.
Wow.
Not good for your pets. So don't let your dogs into your raisin supply. Keep your dark chocolate and your raisins away from your dog.
Yeah, the chocolate, I knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. Yeah, wow. Crazy.
Yeah, I didn't either. It's funny, I always heard about chocolate and dogs, and I never could figure out, because we had a dog. We had two different dogs when I was a kid that both of them got into the Christmas candy one year at different times, and we came home and there was foil all over the living room carpet, and the dog had just completely devoured this bowl of little chocolate eggs. But what I realized was that it was all milk chocolate. So there was probably very little cacao in there. If those had been dark chocolate, if those had been like a 70 or 80% cacao chocolate, that dog would have been.
All right,
dog would not have been well.
James, we need to go. It's 4 o'clock, but we're gonna divide the show in two now. Starting next week, we're gonna do half an hour and half an hour.
I'll do half an hour, and then Olivier will do half an hour. Oh no, that's not what we're doing.
We're gonna do food demos. We're gonna talk about our question that we have, and we're gonna have guests also. So we're gonna speed it up a little bit.
So we'll probably have a guest for the first half hour, and then you'll be stuck with us for the second half an hour. Well, hey, thanks for cooking us lunch. When should we all come over?
20 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, in 10 minutes, because in 5 minutes I'm gonna eat. By the time I clean up my plate and the kitchen and leave, it's gonna be 20 minutes.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna post your home address, so if anybody has trouble with this recipe, they can just stop by and you'll show them.
Oh my God! Yep. Good, guys.
So thank you for joining us today. I hope everyone's managing to stay cool. I hope everyone has a cold drink in their hand in about now. It's 4 o'clock. That's they call it tea time, but I always say that's more like an early cocktail time.
It's a tea time.
Yeah, tea time. Yeah, time out is what it is.
All right. Good job. Thank you.
I'm gonna go have a cold beer. So thanks. Join us next week, and stay safe.
More cooking. We're gonna do more cooking. All right, people. Good job. See ya.
All right. Thanks. All right.